faster than a scheduled task, more powerful than an unprivileged user, some of the most knowledgeable people around. System administrators are heroes. They save the day one ticket at a time. They fight for stability, security, and having everything up by Monday. And with their great power comes great responsibility. Today, we celebrate the system administrator. Hello and welcome back to LearnLinuxTV. In today's video, we celebrate the system administrator. System administrators make sure that all systems are up and running, upgrades and migrations are done the most efficient way possible. They just work very hard to keep everything working so you, yourself, can actually, be working. More specifically, we celebrate System Administrator Appreciation Day, which is actually the last Friday of July of every year. And this time around, I was actually joined by Brian Osborne of Admin Magazine, and also Joao, who you probably know as my co-host for the Enterprise Linux Security podcast. And the three of us, we talk about System Administrator Appreciation Day, but this time around, the theme is the superhero theme because, sysadmins are actual superheroes. They save the day one ticket at a time. The three of us had a blast talking about how awesome sysadmins are, so join us as we discuss System Administrator Day 2022. Hello again, everyone. I am joined once again with two of my friends here for System Administrator Appreciation Day. And this is actually a collaboration between Admin Magazine and Tuxcare. And we're going to talk about Sysadmin Appreciation Day. And the theme nowadays, or the theme with this particular episode, is Sysadmin Heroes because they save the day. But before we talk about that, let's go ahead and go around the room and introduce ourselves. And I think it's safe to say that most of the people watching this probably know who I am, so I'll leave that part out. And then, Joao, we can start with you. Go right ahead.
Hi, Jay. As always, it's a pleasure. My name is Joao Correia. Some people might remember me from the Enterprise Linux Security podcast that we do together every week. If not, I'm a tech evangelist with Tuxcare. And before that, I was a sysadmin for many, many years. So, I can totally understand the significance of System Administrator Appreciation Day, as that is sometimes sorely lacking. So, yeah.
Brian?
Yeah, hi. Good to be back with you guys again this year. So I'm Brian Osborne. I'm the publisher of Admin Magazine, which is a global digital and print magazine for systems administrators of all kinds. So glad to be here for Sysadmin Appreciation Day.
Yep.
It's good to feel appreciated at some point, right?
It really is. Yeah, it's and as we're going to talk about, being a system administrator is really fun. So I'll just say it right now. The lack of appreciation that we're implying here, it does exist, obviously. There's a reason for this System Administrator Appreciation Day to exist, but it's a really, really fun job. And it's something that, I've had much enjoyment with. And we have a previous video, by the way. This is not the first time that we've gotten together. So some of the things we'll keep a little shorter. We've already kind of talked about some of what these things are. But I think what we should probably do first is define what System Administrator Appreciation Day actually is. We hinted around to it already, but I figured, Brian, you could go ahead and please give us your summary of what the holiday is, actually.
Yeah, so the world-famous Sysadmin Appreciation Holidays was not created by us. I mean, this is something that's been going for many years, and the idea is just to define a day where everybody can take a moment to think about, who are sysadmins, what all do they do, and show them some appreciation because, as we'll cover, they often kind of work behind the scenes and a lot of people don't really see what they do. And so that's the purpose here, is to specifically call out all the sysadmins and thank them for everything that they do, especially when no one notices, because they have everything under control and keep everything running smoothly. So that's the idea, and that's why we're getting together today.
Yeah, the unsung heroes of the infrastructure and your IT department. Basically, the ones that you never notice are there if they're doing their job as they should. So,
The superheroes even, right? The superheroes of your
the superheroes
IT
of your IT.
The reason why your computers are able to start in the morning when you come to your job. The reason why when you open up your email client, email actually starts coming into the client. The reason why the internet works when you go to, file a report or do whatever it is your job does. I mean, there's so many layers here. I feel like we could do like a 5 hour long video just talking about all the things that sysadmins make sure works for you. And considering how many different job roles are at different companies here, that's a lot of different things to manage. I mean, your accounting team needs whatever they need at your facility, your sales team, and so on. They need different things. So there's different systems to keep running. And if any one of those systems stops, then that's a cog in the wheel. If something in the accounting team stops and nobody gets their paycheck, that's not a good day if no one at the company can get their paycheck, right? But all of these different things, we love these things when they're working, but when something is not working, that's pretty frustrating. And the thing is, with System Administrator Appreciation Day, we appreciate the system administrators out there that keep these systems going, which often includes really long hours, weekends, holidays, even. And I think that's part of being a superhero, right? I don't think Captain America ever said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna fight the villain right now because it's Saturday and I've had a really long week and I just kind of need a break right now." That's really not what they do. So in this case, I think the superhero theme really fits a lot more than I thought it would, actually.
Well, it's maybe the point of that. A superhero is needed when something happens. You can do things to prepare to try to avoid situations that need to be resolved, but you can't prepare for everything, and sometimes things just go wrong. And who comes in to save the day? That's the superhero, and in the IT landscape, that's the systems administrators. So, it's maybe a little bit of a downside because in that sense you kind of have to be on call, but on the other hand, you're the person that brings everything back, gets everything working, keeps everything running smoothly. So it's a high responsibility position, but a lot of positive vibes when you get everything fixed and keep everything going for the rest of the team.
Yep. That positive feeling, that's actually a real thing that happens when your boss comes up to you screaming, say at lunchtime or something like that, "Hey, how are our systems at risk for that new vulnerability," or something like that, and you just calmly turn around, "No, because I patched them 5 minutes ago," and then you're a star for that manager of yours. He's going to look differently to you. Yep. You're on top of the game, you know what you're doing, you keep your systems well secured and protected and all of that, and you get a sense of real enjoyment out of that. It's a satisfaction feeling that you get out of this job. And of course it's called System Administrator Appreciation Day, but recently system administration sysadmins have actually expanded a bit to include some other definitions and some other job titles here. This is a trend that's been happening for a few years now, where specific subsets of the sysadmin job have been split into specific roles. You have your site reliability engineers, your DevOps specialists, your SecDevOps, your operations management team, lots of different roles that at the end of the day, what they are doing is actually the things that sysadmins were doing 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just not with a special name. It's what they've always been doing. The System Administrator Appreciation Day actually fits as an umbrella over a broader range of job titles. It's not just specifically for the sysadmin. It covers other job titles as well.
Yeah, I almost think of it like...
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, it's just because what is a sysadmin these days? It's all kinds of things. So, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely is. And in some ways, I almost think of it like specialties in a way, like because there's certain things that I feel most, or maybe even all system administrators need to know as part of their job that are the core concepts of the industry, but then kind of branches out because you in DevOps, you're working within a development team, helping keeping that development process going. which is extremely helpful, especially if your company develops apps and things like that, is even more so. Reliability engineers, I feel like that term just kind of speaks for itself, right? Like you're just focusing on reliability and engineering things that makes reliability more reliable. So basically, they're kind of like specialties. You get into the cloud as well, and some companies could be like 100% in the cloud, and some could be like, 50-50. So, and that's actually, and we'll talk about why it's great to be a sysadmin shortly, but I think that's one of my favorite things is that there's different styles and different focuses that kind of give you like a bird's eye view about how everything works in the IT world in each different style. So I think that's something that kind of keeps it interesting. And even with that, new things are coming out all the time. So I'm sure when we get together again, I mean, who knows? There might even be a new job title that just kind of hit it, and we talk about
fitting with the theme. It's like different superpowers for different job titles. So
that's a good point. That's a very good point because, if you think about it, maybe 10 years ago there was three kinds of admins, right? There was the systems administrator, the database administrator, and the network administrator.
Yep.
Yes.
And that covered everything that you had. But now, I mean, you can still have a role like that. I mean, if you want to look at this from a career perspective, a sysadmin can be in a smaller team or in a smaller company, can be the IT person that does everything, that sets up everything and manages all of that. Or the other end of the scale, you might be part of a team a team of 10 people that just manages one large cluster installation or something like that. So you're focused on managing and optimizing one very specific thing, and you're highly specialized. So I think it is kind of important to look at it from that perspective. You can be a generalist, or you can be highly specific in something that is particularly interesting to you. And all those things are still systems administrators. And as you pointed out, they're just different superpowers. So do you have one specific superpower that you use all the time, or do you have a little bit of everything and you use the superpower that is needed at the moment, but you've got them all available to you?
Yeah, that's a huge, really cool thing to be able to do too. I mean, like the term generalist is exactly what it is for some people, because for some companies, especially smaller companies, they don't really have the budget to hire, 5 or 6 sysadmins. So they might have one, or, I mean, hopefully they don't have just one. I mean, 2, I feel like should be the minimum because, people need a vacation, right? But
poor guy.
yeah, no. And I say that because I was that person, but for me, I loved working at that company so much that it actually never bothered me, although it probably should have, that I was the only one there. But I just had so much fun that I was doing their cloud stuff. They had a physical hypervisor as well in a rack that I managed. I managed their computers and everything. It was just so much fun, and I just love that a lot. And you can absolutely have a mixed role like that too. Because I don't want anyone to think of this like silos, that once you choose one, you can't ever get out of that and try something else, because that's not how it works at all. In fact, I would say as IT innovates, your job role will grow and become more and more interesting as time goes on, and you'll learn new things that actually didn't exist when you first got into it. Like when I first started, Kubernetes didn't exist. Containerization did not exist. Oh, I should say containerization did exist, but it was not really heavily used, and we didn't have the Docker buzzword in product at that time. So that changed, and that was great because here's something new that I can learn, instead of being at a job where you learn everything within the first year and then you hit a ceiling and then you can't really go anywhere at that point. And I think this is a way out of that, actually.
I'll go one over that. When I started doing this, we didn't have virtual servers. So you had physical servers doing one specific job, monolithic stuff. And if you needed another role or you needed resources, you went out and you bought a new server and you added to the rack and you add the roles and you added the performance. There wasn't this fancy high availability stuff and all of that. You had one server doing one job and be done with it.
But I think it's a very good point that you made. Before, going back to the idea of always learning, no matter how you enter into the space, whether it's from a security perspective or because you're interested in databases or just IT generalist in that sense, you'll have constantly many opportunities to learn something new, to pick up new technologies, to move upwards, sideways, any direction you want, because whether within the same team or the same company or by switching to a different company, there's always going to be opportunities to step in whichever direction you find interesting. And that's one of the most important things from a career perspective. It's an extremely safe job in that sense, because it's relatively easy to move from one place to the next, and optimize for what's important for you, potentially from a location or from a topic of the job situation. So there's all kinds of opportunities, and it's not a career choice that once you've made it, you have no options after that. It's very diverse and constantly changing, constantly evolving. So
Absolutely.
should always stay interesting.
And even the different job titles, just because the specific position is for a site reliability engineer doesn't mean you won't end up doing something slightly different and outside of the scope. More than likely you will, so be ready for that. But it's very easy, like Brian said, to move laterally from those jobs from one to the next one, because they're very interconnected, they're very related. You're working on the same platforms, you're working on the same systems. So it's not like today I'm not going to be a site reliability engineer, I'm going to move to DevOps. Sure, you're going to take the same scripts, you're going to be working with the same deployment tools, you're going to be using the same infrastructure, basically. So whatever you learned before, it's still going to be as relevant on the new one.
That is
so true. Once you're on the inside and you see what else is happening, then you see what parts of that you find interesting and where you would like to move on, where you would like to develop, and just take one step after the other.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually kind of can give a good example of this, and I think this might help somebody who's kind of on the fence. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's really obsessing over which one of these specialties to go into, and it for some people that choice might feel like a burden, but I don't feel it is when you know how it actually works. Especially like for me, I originally thought databases, in DBM would be fun. And when I tried it, I didn't really like it. I just didn't feel like it was for me. It just didn't really check my boxes. But I remember at that same time that one of my colleagues was a network engineer, and I, glanced over his shoulder. I'm like, that looks like the most boring job ever. But as but what's weird is that when I tried it, I got addicted to network management, and it became one of my favorite things. And I never thought that would happen. And I just started reading book after book after book about networking. And I didn't picture myself as liking that. But once I tried it, I loved it. And then a colleague of mine that I worked with was really great at SQL. She could write SQL queries like it was just her second language. It was just, I've never seen anyone that could do that. And it was amazing. And she loved it. Like if you ask her she could be having a really bad day, but if you ask her, can you help me write a SQL query? And she will just light right up and she'll be, yes, I can absolutely help you with that. So you'll find as you see things and try things that you'll find out there's so much to like and there's so many different things. And then as Joao was saying, I mean, there's still no silo at that point. And the scripts absolutely do carry over. You don't have to start over. And the foundation on which all of these specialties are built are the same. We have TCP/IP networking straight across the board. There's not a specialty that doesn't use that in some way. Understanding operating systems and how they function in general, applications, application theory, all these things, they absolutely carry over. So my opinion, it's just like going swimming in Michigan. The water's always cold and you dip your toes in and it takes you like 20 minutes to get in the water. Just dive in and have fun, just explore. It's just, and people that live in Michigan know exactly what I'm talking about.
And freeze over.
You shiver a little bit, but after a while you get used to it, right? And these things might be weird to you at first. And that's okay because you're learning, you're kind of getting the feel for it, and it's part of the process. And it's absolutely some of the most fun that I've ever had was being a sysadmin.
And it's like I mentioned before, and you'll become the superhero of the team. Yep. You'll become the person that everybody looks to whenever there's this problem. I used to have this feeling that whenever people knocked on my door with some issue, they had already tried all the other doors and they couldn't get the solution. So they went over to me and, okay, we have this issue. We can solve it any other way. Please fix it.
Nobody else can fix it, so you must be the one, right?
And that's part of the sysadmin job. You're probably the last resort for many of the people that will work at your business. Whenever something critical breaks, you're the person that has to step up and take charge and get the stuff fixed and get it back up and running again. And depending on your personality, obviously, this feels amazing. It really does.
Yeah, and if you bring that back to the superhero concept, it's like, oh, we're really in trouble now. Go ask the sysadmin. They can fix it, right? Because they can do everything somehow. Nobody understands it. Nobody really knows what you're doing, but somehow half an hour later, everything's working again. So, that brings us back to the need for Sysadmin Appreciation Day. That there's so many things that sysadmins do every day to not only fix problems that come up, but to stop problems from happening in the first place. Security issues, there's just a million things that could go wrong, and that almost never happens because they're doing their job and keeping all these things from happening. But that's why we need Sysadmin Appreciation Day, is to point out that they're doing all this great stuff every day, even though it's hardly visible to anyone. Everybody sees a working system every day and doesn't ask themselves, how does that happen? But it's the sysadmins doing their job that just makes everything work. So that's one of the main things that we're appreciating, is that most of the time everything just works. So that's great.
Yeah.
It could be.
And it's amazing. It's amazing how most of the time things work. If you know a bit about technology and how stuff is wired up between different systems, sometimes it's amazing how stuff doesn't break just by somebody sneezing next to the rack.
You say that, but there was a video that I've seen where a sysadmin screamed into his server and saw error rates increase, actually. And I'm not even making this up, right? This is actually a thing. Now, do not yell at your servers. I'm not trying to get anybody fired for thinking you might have a mental health concern. It's okay. Don't vent out your anger on the servers there. But I kind of, I was reminded and this is for those of you that are Spider-Man fans out there, right? You have the character J. Jonah Jameson, where if Spider-Man does one thing wrong or doesn't stop the villain fast enough, it's all, he's just, really just, laying into him, right? Just totally making bad press, so to speak. And he's just trying to save the day. And I don't like a situation like that. It's like, you have the systems working every day, but then you have to install an update because this update is a critical vulnerability, but it requires everybody to restart their computer. And then immediately you go from pretty likable to, oh my God, IT is asking me to restart again. Really? Why do I have to do that again? But it's, one of the things is like the benefit of the doubt. Like, no system administrator wakes up in the morning, at least I hope not, and I'm sure not, saying, I just really want to bother everybody. I think I'm just going to have this snake oil update that does nothing but just triggers the restart. Nobody thinks like that. Like we don't want to do that at all. So it's just the mindset, right? So on Monday, you log in, your systems are working. On Tuesday, you come back to work, you log in, your systems are working. But what you might not know is that Monday night, there could have been a RAID error, one of the disks, or maybe a couple disks crashed, depending on what kind of RAID array it is. And maybe one more disk was all that was needed for like some kind of information to be permanently lost. And the sysadmin drives in, replaces the drives, rebuilds the array at night. But in the morning, you log in and you don't know that even happened, because sysadmins are not going to say to everybody at water cooler talk, I drove in last night. I totally saved the day. I've never met a single one that has ever done that. But you'd be surprised the things you don't know about what they're doing that they never even talk about.
Yeah, or a hack attack sometime in the middle of the night or something like that. There's all kinds of things that can happen.
There really is. And
you receive these weird notifications during the night that some systems stop when it shouldn't, and you need to get up and see what happened and get it back up running again so that the next day work isn't disrupted for everybody. Yeah, that's what your friendly neighborhood sysadmin is doing.
And to play off of that, you could have a a story where the Green Goblin wants to rob a bank and Spider-Man stops him before he even gets to the bank. And you're not even going to read about that in the comic book because it's not even entertaining. Like a whole issue is just Spider-Man just stops him and like nothing happens. Like that, no one taught that doesn't even make the story.
Yeah, the problem was solved before it became visible. So
Right.
it's not news, right?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
the actual point of this day. The actual point of celebrating this date is precisely because of moments like that, because of the moments that your sysadmin saved your bacon and you didn't even notice it.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you either normally.
And
so.
they don't tell you either.
Yeah.
Now, again, there are exceptions to that rule that I mentioned, where sysadmins talking with sysadmins, right? They're sharing war stories. Now, that absolutely happens all the time, and it's fun, especially when you go to conferences and you're talking to other people that have the same or similar career as you, and they understand you. They don't feel like you're talking Japanese when you talk about how many gigabytes are in a terabyte or something, when the average person doesn't even know what that means. But then you're surrounded by people that do. Yeah, you'll absolutely share war stories and things like that. But that's just how it goes, right? I think human nature is that when something is working, it's a sunny day, it's a great day at work, nothing broke, you got out of work on time, your systems were fast, you were able to log in, it didn't take long like it normally does. Okay, great. I'm having a good day today. Then they go home, tell their families, oh, yeah, I had a great day today. But it's just all the things they don't know that sysadmins have done to make their day great, or at the very least, make their day less frustrating. Because let's be honest, as Joao was saying, it is true. The more you learn, the more you wonder how this stuff exists. Like we retransmit packets over and over again, hoping one's going to stick, right? Instead of like fixing the reason why a packet gets lost in the first place. I'm not talking about sysadmins here. I mean, we're talking like a layer. Obviously, that is a sysadmin thing, but that was created a long time ago. But that's what we're dealing with. We're retransmitting, we're correcting errors in memory because errors happen all the time. We have bad sectors on hard drives. A brand new one, like you literally have bad sectors and it's not considered defective because there's an allowable number of flaws in your hard drive. And that's what we're contending with here. There's known flaws in the stuff that we're keeping running. And well, unless we're planning on redesigning TCP/IP hardware, that's just the way it is. We need to keep it chugging along.
Yeah.
So the question is, what can people do to show their appreciation, right?
Right.
And it can be anything. Probably the simplest and most effective is just saying thank you. Just talk to the people and say, I realize that I don't understand most of what you do, but I know that it's a lot harder than we'll ever know, and we appreciate what you do, and that you keep everything working for us. I think, obviously you can do more gifts, chocolate, coffee, pizza, whatever. But a simple thank you probably goes a very long way.
Yep.
Or just the department chips in and buys the sysadmin a Raspberry Pi. He'll love it.
Oh my gosh.
It will keep him busy for hours.
Yeah, that is absolutely
That's a good idea.
Statement. I'm not talking about like an actual Raspberry Pi, by the way. I mean like there's a, for those that don't know, a small computer board called a Raspberry Pi. They're great.
If you're a sysadmin and it's Sysadmin Appreciation Day and you still haven't received your thank you for the day, just find a colleague, go next to the coffee machine and try starting a conversation to each other like, somebody's going to lose some emails today. And then just make sure that it gets overheard by some colleagues of other departments and then just walk back. You'll see how the chocolates start to pour into the desk.
Oh my gosh.
That's blackmail.
Right?
No, he didn't mention he was going to do it.
Okay.
It might happen.
Well, we should point out that we do, part of the fruits of our cooperation here on Sysadmin Appreciation Day is that we have prepared a free gift for any sysadmin, aspiring admins, anyone who would like to learn more. It's a free ebook called 10 Terrific Tools for the Busy Admin. So this is something that it's basically a collection of content featuring small, freely available tools that help you solve some small problem, or maybe you learn some functionality that you weren't aware of. And so this ebook is free for download for anyone starting now on Sysadmin Appreciation Day. And that's the collaboration with Tuxcare has made this possible from Admin Magazine. Jay, I assume you'll put the link in the description.
Yep.
Where it can be downloaded. And so that's our free gift to everyone today. So please download that and learn something new, pass it on to anyone that you know that might be interested. And
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
our thanks for Sysadmin Appreciation Day.
And share this
Absolutely.
video too. Just share this video with your colleagues, share it on your socials, and help spread the fact that we want to appreciate our system administrators. I think that's a very noble thing to do, and that's absolutely what we're doing today, and what I think everybody should do as part of this amazing day.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
that is a good point. That not only thanking the sysadmin directly, but publicly thanking your sysadmins by sharing one of these things and pointing out, hey, I realize that this is something that deserves appreciation, and I am publicly appreciating my sysadmin. That's even better.
You're doing a great job. Please keep it up.
Yeah, we love you guys. You guys are amazing, and we really appreciate everything that you're doing. You are appreciated. You absolutely are appreciated. There's no question. But we need to make sure that our people feel that. It's one way to feel that we appreciate our sysadmin, but feeling it, they don't feel what we feel. Let them know. Thank you. Assume the best of intentions. That update that is driving you crazy because you have to save everything and reboot yet again. I get it. It's annoying, but at the same time, the absence of that update might mean a security vulnerability that could be a major company catastrophe. It's not just about your computer, it's about the company and keeping it safe. So you have a place to return to work to tomorrow, not something that's been on the news on CNN. You don't want that. And that's one of the many things that we prevent from happening.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Thanks to all the sysadmin superheroes. Keep it up.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video and celebrating system administrators all over the world that keep everything going. They're awesome people, and definitely just give them a thank you. We owe them a debt of gratitude. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate it. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Make sure you share this content to all of your colleagues and socials to spread awareness for sysadmins, and I'll see you in the next video.